Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
All right, Daniel Jones had a good game. A lot of people said he didn't. A lot of people were blaming him for this past game, but he had a good game. And before you start to comment, Diggy's flip flopping, Diggy's, saying one thing one week, one thing, because the play is different week to week, which is why I want to replace Daniel Jones because the play isn't consistent from week to week. But when he has a good game, I'm not going to come out here and say he played a bad game. He's not good. Blah, 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 blah. He played a bad game when he clearly did not play a bad game. I would say this is one of his better games of the season. 3 total touchdowns, 1 turnover that ended up being crucial, but overall, a good game. So to start things off, Daniel Jones is going to drop back here, run a play action, and he's got to hold on to the ball, number one. I mean, ball security is always the most important thing. But at the same time, take a look at Chris Hubbard. Take a look at Hubbard here at the top of the line of scrimmage and just take a look at how badly this guy gets beat. Daniel Jones at the bottom of his drop, before he's even able to really land at the bottom of his drop, is being sacked. And he's like, we have a screen designed. I need to get the screen pass to this running back, which makes sense. But he gets hit as he throws, and it ends up being an empty hand coming forward. So, unfortunate. This almost ends up being an interception. And again, sometimes you have to just take the sack. But I understand the urgency to say, it's a screenplay. Maybe I can get it to my guy. Because if Eric Gray catches this, I mean, he's got a ton of space. He's probably getting the first down at the very least, if not scoring. And this is after you run the ball consistently, effectively. So you're probably going to run the ball in after that. But at the end of the day, ball security is number one. By far his worst player today. But they got to give him some protection there off that left side. Chris Hubbard one-on-one sometimes can be a disaster scenario. So there were a ton of people saying Daniel Jones had 0 yards in the first half. Like, that was like a meme. Well, he had a touchdown, first off. Second of all, they were running the heck out of the football. You never go away from running the football. You never go away from running the football if it's working. Makes no sense to do it. The most safe way that you can transport the ball down the field is not putting it in harm's way, not putting it in the air. And have you seen with guys like Bill Belichick and the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, when you're running the football as well as the Giants were, 140 yards in the first half, you do not go away from it just so you can get some passing yards on the board. So right here, he's going to read this option right, find some space, and why throw the football when he had 50 yards rushing in the first half. So right here, Washington is going to come out into this cover two deep safeties. Just, regular conservative defense, not wanting to give anything over the top. Slayton and Malik Neighbors are always a threat to get you downfield. So just straight cover two defense. And Daniel Jones is going to drop. He's going to get to the bottom of his drop, and he's instantly under pressure. So instead of, trying to throw something, he just ends up, and right here you got another option here. So he's going to end up running around this way. Malik Neighbors is in motion to kind of, get some eyes going that way, distracted from where we're really going. But he's going to run this option here, and Daniel Jones bounds. All right, so you're going to get Chris Manhertz in the back of the end zone here, and you're going to get Theo's going to motion across, and then he's going to basically run an out route. Theo Johnson ends up getting held right here. But Chris Manhertz at the back of the end zone. I mean, beautiful catch, beautiful throw. And this is the same crowd of people that said Daniel Jones doesn't have any passing yards first half. Blah, blah, blah. He's having a horrible game. Well, guess what? Daniel Jones threw probably the best end zone fade route of his career here. Beautiful route here at the back of the end zone where only Manhertz could get it. Take a look from here. I wish we could have got that then. But beautiful throw there and beautiful catch. All right, so like I said, we're always going to keep it 100. We're always going to tell the truth here. We're not going to say someone had a bad game when they had a good game. We're not going to say they had a good play when it was a bad play. We're going to call it how we see it. So Malik Neighbors here is going to end up coming open here on this crosser route. Darius Slayton takes this a little bit deeper. Dable loves to run this. So essentially kind of like a levels kind of concept where you got two guys, one guy, creating some space, another guy coming underneath that. And it works exactly how the Giants want it to work. So you got Malik Neighbors, he's going to come open here, and he's got a ton of space. And my only issue with this throw is that it should be a step ahead of Malik Neighbors. Because if he can catch this in stride without having to leave his feet, he's going to catch this and he's going to have a chance to make some of these guys miss. And a lot of people love to say when I say these things is, it was a good throw, but it was a bad throw. Yes, there's a thing called nuance. There's a thing called nuance where he hit the guy, he put the ball where it needs to be as far as making that completion and picking up that first down and getting the chunk play, but he could have placed the ball a little bit better. He very well could have done it. So if the ball's a little bit out further, he catches this and can get some more yak, but nonetheless, good job recognizing it, good job hitting them, and we get a nice chunk play. All right, so these next couple plays are just frustrating. You got Theo Johnson here on this crosser here, and you're just going to get a drop. I mean, self-explanatory. Daniel Jones does what he's supposed to do, gets to the bottom of his drop, notices Theo Johnson, hits him there, right in the hands, and you get a drop. I mean, that's just inexcusable. Inexcusable, nothing really to talk about there. That's a perfectly placed ball. Here's another play where you're going to get Theo Johnson, and Daniel Jones is going to throw him a nice ball here. And I talked about this in the Theo Johnson video. If you stop it here, Theo Johnson has a step right here, so he may be expecting this ball to be placed upfield. Daniel Jones instead throws it back shoulder, which of course is the safest throw. It's just sort of a miscommunication. But it seems like Theo Johnson could have done a better job here. Well, I know since Daniel Jones is deciding to throw the back shoulder here, I want you to take a look at how well this ball is placed. I want you to take a look at how well the ball is placed. Literally right in his hands. Right in his hands, right away from the DB. And again, Theo Johnson may have expected a different throw. As far as the throw goes from Daniel Jones, it is perfectly placed on that back shoulder. All right, and while we're on the Theo Johnson train, we're going to show the same route that Theo Johnson scored on. And Daniel Jones, again, there's nuance in every single play. You know, sometimes you get a 90% on test, sometimes you get 100%. That's why we're watching the tape. So Theo Johnson's going to go up the seam, and he clears. Daniel Jones hits him, and he scores. Nothing at all wrong with that play. I just want you all to look at this. So he throws this ball, and Theo Johnson has to stop and jump for this pass. Again, this is very nitpicky. This isn't me saying that Daniel Jones had a bad play. This is just Theo Johnson having to stop. If he's able to catch this, blame that. All right, so here we're going to show how bad some of this pass pro was up here on this sack here. The sacks he took during my stream and while I was watching the game, I was thinking, you know, get rid of the ball. But here, it just kind of was nowhere for him to go. The entire pocket here collapsed, and there's nowhere for him to go. I mean, there's really nowhere for him to go. And if you take a look at the receivers downfield, you can make an argument that he could throw it to Malik here, but that's just being a screenshot warrior. When he really gets set, I mean, Malik Neighbors is running a double move. You get what I'm saying? He's running a double move. So there's nothing that Daniel Jones can really do on this play. So he tries to make some moves. He tries to get into some open space, and he just ends up getting sacked. So Darius Slayton at the top of the screen is going to run an in route, sort of a slant route, and Daniel Jones is just going to hit him perfectly in stride. Perfectly. Perfect throw here. I mean, Slay does not have to stop. The ball just basically just teleports into his catch radius. Just teleports there. And also, let's not forget that this should have been a touchdown. And he maybe has 4 touchdowns on this past Sunday. He maybe has 4 touchdowns. Let's not forget that this should have been a touchdown. And if you take a look at Darius Slayton, he makes no effort to make any contact with these DBs. And normally, when you see any type of offensive pass interference, you see DBs like throwing their hands up in the air. Take a look at all of these DBs here. Take a look at all of them as I make a heart there. But take a look at all of those DBs. Not one of them throws their hands up in the air, looks at the referees. They're just complaining. They're upset that they gave up a touchdown. They all are dropping their heads. But nobody is looking at the referee like, That I got picked off. So that just goes to show you that this should have been a touchdown. And again, Daniel Jones could have had a 4 touchdown performance here. So back to the fourth quarter here. Daniel Jones is just going to look at this guy right here on the floor. I mean, he got laid out here on the floor. So Daniel Jones is always going to be polarizing as long as he's here. And my thing is, when he has a good game, I have no problem saying the guy had a good game. When he has a bad game, I have no problem saying he has a bad game. We have to call things like we see it. We have to hold people accountable for good things and for bad things. And Daniel Jones, besides that one fumble where his left tackle just got obliterated, had himself a pretty good game. I would venture off to say a really good game. Now, he had a couple of things, like I said, he had a couple of times where he could have placed the ball a little bit better, but these are nitpicking things. And this is not an endorsement of saying that Daniel Jones should be our quarterback next year. What this is me recognizing that a New York Giants player had a good game. I'm excited to watch it anytime a player has a good game on our team. And hopefully he can continue to play like this. And if not, we got his replacement coming up. I mean, one of those guys in the draft have got to be coming out soon. But again, this is not an endorsement of him being back next year, but this is an appreciation of how well he played this past Sunday that I think really got lost. And if you're interested to see how the man behind him played, Theo Johnson, you saw he had his drops, but he had some good things. If you're interested to see how he played, check this out here.